Integrity is excited to bring its payroll clients web-based payroll. This video is intended to give you step-by-step instructions on how you can start using the internet for your payroll. Instead of contacting your payroll accountant, you will go directly to the web at your convenience. The next steps that you take are simple. After you've done them a couple of times, you will find they go very quickly. You will log in, you'll select your payroll, you'll enter hours or pay amounts, you review the results, and record your paychecks. It's that easy. Let me show you how it's done. Use your favorite internet browser and go to the Integrity Tax website, which is at www.integrity-tax.com, and you see over here where it says Integrity Payroll Services. You click on that icon there and it brings you to the screen where you enter in your credentials. So you type in your username and your password, and these would have been emailed to you. So you make sure to keep those in a safe place and then select Login. That brings you to the Payroll Relief icon, which you click on, and here you come to this payroll processing screen. You see here where payroll processing is right in the middle. You choose that, and then the payroll entry. Click on the payroll entry screen, and you see where it says select payroll and current is already chosen for you. You have to make sure that the dot is there in the current payroll, and then you click on the drop down arrow and you select your payroll according to these preset schedules. Now Integrity has already set up a lot of your payroll for you, so these choices, including this pay schedule, is preset by us for you. This is your standard pay period schedule. So for these usual paychecks, you'll select your regular bi-weekly schedule here, and yours might be weekly or monthly, whatever your usual pay schedule is. And now we come to the worksheet screen, and here you see where all the employees who receive paychecks according to this schedule, they're all listed here. And yes, I do want to pay all those employees. Then under this column here we see the regular hours, and the number of hours here that appear are also according to things that are have been set up for you. These are the default hours that Integrity has entered in for the different employees. And you see overtime hours can be added here in this column. So for regular hours, I see the hourly worker here, and he worked his usual hours of 80, so I don't have to make any changes to that. I go down to another hourly worker here. I see she worked some overtime hours, so I enter those. And now the S here are for these salaried employees. I see a couple of them have 1 hour marked there, and those employees receive the same amount of salary every pay period, and for this particular paycheck they are going to receive that same amount, so I don't need to make any changes. And now these salaried workers, they receive a different amount every pay period. So on a few screens from now, I will enter the gross amount, the amount of pay that these salaried employees will receive. So I will just leave those blank. And now under hand check here, I am not going to use the printer to generate any checks. I'm going to write out my checks, payroll checks by hand. So I select hand check for each one of the employees. Now I have entered everything on this screen that needs to go on here, so I can select calculate. I do that, have the program calculate, and now I see I've moved along to review payroll. And I do receive a warning because some of the employees who are marked to be paid don't have any hours or any pay entered yet. That's okay, I haven't entered it yet, so I will move along to the modify screen where I can enter the amounts for those employees. And here's the first one. I don't see any hours here. I want to type in an amount for him, so I choose override calculations calculations, and then I type in the amount of his pay. There we go. And then choose calculate taxes. There, and that looks like that worked out all right. There's his net pay over there. That looks good. So I use the arrow to look at the next employee. He's one where I entered hours or used the default hours. This one, she had overtime hours. That looks correct. And another, a salaried person, the default that appears there is okay, and the same for that one. Here's one who doesn't have any hours, so they don't have any current pay yet. I wanted to type in their pay amount, so I choose override calculations for him and enter in his pay and then calculate his taxes. And that looks good. That's the last one. So I am ready to look at a report where I can preview the information that I have entered. So I select report, and it brings up a payroll register pre-approval report. And I look over here, and here is one that I had selected override, and I entered his pay amount for him. That looks correct. And this one, he had hours, his pay rate is correct. That all looks right. This person, I typed in their overtime hours. That looks good. A salaried person who gets their usual salary amount. And scroll down to the next page. And another one who gets their regular salary. And this is the other employee where I had typed in his amount. So I want to make sure I typed the correct thing, and his looks correct also. And then the next page, I like to look at this report. On this side, it shows me the previous payroll for this pay schedule. I like to compare that to what I have going on for this current payroll. And down here I see, sure enough, the number of checks. I paid 6 employees the last time with the previous payroll, which was the same number of employees I'm paying this time. That's a good double check. And then the calculation is actually really close. So that would be right. I would know in my mind that sure enough, the employees worked about the same amount of time. And so those numbers look good. I can save this to my hard drive or print it if I want a hard copy of this report. Those options are available. But I am not going to do that right now. I'm just going to close this report, and it brings me back to the screen where I had just left, still on Review, Payroll, Modify. And everything looked good on my report. So I am ready to approve these paychecks. I select approve right over there, and then the program moves me along to the check printing screen. Now, even though these are paychecks, I still have to, or even though they're hand checks, I'm not going to print actual paychecks with the computer. I'm going to write out checks by hand. I still have to select print right over here. So I do that, and then these checks, what the checks would look like, comes up on the screen, and I can see that they are voided checks, so that tells me that they're being recorded as hand checks. And I have to select record checks right there. And that is it. That is all it takes to go through the steps that you need to calculate your payroll. It is that easy. Thank you.